mission of His Divine Grace, Srila Bhakti Saraswati Thakur, to print the Vedic literatures in English. So Srila Prabhupada took this mission as his life's mission to translate the epic Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam. Prabhupada in many of his purports speak about it. So the greatest contribution apart from Srila Prabhupada establishing ISKCON, spreading the Hare Krishna movement all throughout the world, and the greatest contribution by far is his translation of Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, presentation of Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam in English. Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam describes the importance of Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam. Krishna swadhama upagate dharma jnanadibhi saha kalo nashta drishamesha punano arko dinodita. So after Krishna swadhama upagate, after Krishna departed for his eternal abode, Krishna Golo. So along with him, dharma jnana adi bhi saha, the religious principles, dharma, jnana, the Vedic knowledge, all others, austerity, sacrifice, purity, everything else was withdrawn, not available. And in this age of Kali, where there is nothing auspicious, in the age of Kali, especially the human races, they are misdirected. They are not able to know how to achieve the goal of life. So Krishna very mercifully appears in the form of Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam. Kalau nashta drisham eshaha. So Purāṇo arkaha. Arka is like the rising of the sun. So when the sun rises, it dissipates all the darkness. It dissipates all the ignorance. And it releases the fresh life and vigor and vitality in all the living entities. So similarly, Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam infuses life to the lifeless people who have no spiritual aspirations. So my request is all of you, those who have Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, so please read from the book. I don't want to show it on the screen, because I'll tell you, there is a very, very deep reason for that. I have heard Srila Prabhupada's tape. In one of the Prabhupada's tape, Srila Prabhupada said that Srila Bhakti Saraswati Thakur gave him a benediction that whenever you get money, you print books and you preach to the English-speaking people. And Srila Bhakti Saraswati also said in this blessings to Srila Prabhupada that this will do good to you and to your readers. So Prabhupada always emphasized to distribute his books, because in his books, there is the potency of the love of the Supreme Lord. Prabhupada's books are potent with love of Krishna. Of course, his digital form is also potent, but not as potent as it has been surcharged in the form of the book. So my request is, most of you have Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam with you, and it will be a proper Nityam Bhagavat Sevaya. We will try not to miss. Every day we will have recitation. The Bhagavatam means Nityam, and recitation of Bhagavatam is Sevaya. So we will begin today with the prayers. One very special prayers before we recite Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam. Narayanam namaskrityam naram cheva narottamam devim saraswatim vyasam tato jayam udirayet. And also Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he glorifies Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam and he approves the study of Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam. Actually, as we saw, in Bhagavad Gita, the final instruction of the Supreme Lord is Man Mana Bhav Mad Bhakto and Sarv Dharmani Pariteje. So where Bhagavad Gita concludes, Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam begins. Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam is the narration of the devotees who are completely surrendered, whose mind and heart is attached to Krishna. In the first 9 cantos, we will discuss about those pure devotees who have accepted the instructions of Śrīmad-Bhagavad Gita as Krishna has said. So this is the narration, the descriptions of those devotees who are fully surrendered and those who have developed love for Krishna. So when we study their character, their glorious contributions, and how they dealt in the situations of real life, so we have inspirations. And not only we have inspiration, we receive instructions from them. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says, Aradhyo Bhagavan Vrajesh Tanaya Tadhamam Vrindavanam Ramya Kachid Upasana Vrajavadhu Vargenava Kalpita. And then he says, Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam Purāṇa Amalam. Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam is the Amal Purāṇa. And it is also the Amal Praman. It's spotless. Why? Because it gives narrations and descriptions of those devotees who are in compact love with Krishna. And the 10th canto talks about Krishna. So I will today take preface first. I'll take preface first. And then from tomorrow we'll begin the 10th canto. Because my aspiration is, my prayer is that by the time Janmāṣṭamī comes, we'll at least complete the first 3 chapters of the 10th canto, which talks about the advent of Lord Krishna. So we have less than 1 month. We have less than 1 month. Let us see how much we are able to cover. So we'll begin with the preface. Srila Prabhupada gives a very, very deep preface to Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam. So many times I have shared with you, as the face is said to be the index of mind. By the face, one can know what is inside the person. The expression that comes on the face, it speaks about the feelings. Similarly, the author, when he presents the preface, he is giving a full view of what he is going to speak in his work. So, preface to Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam. Srila Prabhupada says that we must know the present need of human society. How many of you are having Bhagavatam with you? Please raise your hands. So please open preface. Yeah. So please open preface, and from tomorrow keep 10th canto available with you. From tomorrow we'll discuss the 10th canto. So I'm reading from the preface. So Prabhupada says that we must know the present need of human society. And what is that need? Human society is no longer bounded by geographical limits to a particular countries or communities. How practical is Srila Prabhupada? Prabhupada gave this preface in 1950s. How many years back? Around 70 years or even more than that. And Prabhupada says the human society is broader than in the Middle Ages, and the world tendency is towards one state or one human society. The ideals of spiritual communism. According to Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, are based more or less on the oneness of the entire human society. Prabhupada is saying that with the advancement, with the industrialization, with the globalization, with the rapid economic development and the mobility, now the world is not confined to its territorial limits. So the modern man, he has access and means to be anywhere. So the human society requires an ideal of spiritual communication, of oneness. The human race is trying to be in unity. The need is felt by great thinkers to make this a successful ideology. What is the ideology? That of oneness, of having spiritual communism. One human race, there should be one currency, one language, everything should be one. There should not be so much of divisions and discrimination. No one in the human society accepts or appreciates the discrimination. The only discrimination is accepted to the extent that you are given privilege. As soon as you become underprivileged, then that discrimination has to be scrapped. The Prabhupada is saying that this is the need of the hour, this is the need of the society. This need is felt by great thinkers to make this a successful ideology, and Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam will fill this need in human society. So to unite the world, what we need is we need to accept the teachings and the culture of Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam. It begins therefore with the aphorism of Vedic philosophy, Janmādi asya yataha. So this is where Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam begins. Janma adi asyata. One who is the cause of everyone. So that oneness can come, Prabhupada always said that we have United Nations, and instead of having United Nations, we have disunited nation, because every year a new flag is seen in the United Nations. What it means? That the countries are disintegrating instead of integrating. So Prabhupada is speaking here that Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam will fill this need in the human society, because the oneness can only be based, Prabhupada said. The brotherhood can only come when there is a common father. And that oneness is propagated by Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, because Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam establishes that the Supreme Lord, the Supreme Absolute Truth, is one from whom everything else emanates. So we all have the same origin. We all have the same basis. We all have the same roots. And we all have the same Father. And that Supreme Father is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Lord Shri Krishna. So as this society will accept this fact, there can be unity and there can be oneness. So this establishes the ideal of a common cause. Unless and until we come to that level, so we will never ever have oneness. We see when India gained independence. So Indian and Chinese, they had very good friendship. Like so-called India and Russians, they have so-called very good friendship. And Indian and Chinese, they consider themselves as brothers. But Prabhupada said, how can they be brothers if they do not have a common father? And what happened eventually? India says the Indians feel that they were sabotaged by the Chinese and the Chinese aggression, and they tried to capture India's land. So these all things will happen because there is no common cause. And if we accept the principle, the first aphorism or the first verse of Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur spoke on this verse for 100 days in Dhaka. 100 days explaining this verse, Janmādi asya yataha. Because he had such depth of understanding, so he could explain that. So this is what is Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam presenting, is to unite the nation, to unite the world. Human society at the present moment is not in the darkness of oblivion. It has made rapid progress in the field of material comforts, education, and economic development. So Prabhupada is acknowledging that the present society is not as compared to what it was in the past. Things have very much moved on. I won't use the word progress because progress means that one is at a privilege, but the human society at the present stage is underprivileged rather than being privileged. So Prabhupada is talking about technological development, economic development, material comforts, education. But there is a pinprick. You understand a pinprick? Kata. There is a pinprick somewhere in the social body at large. And therefore, there are large-scale quarrels even over less important issues. So that is the hallmark of Kali. What is the hallmark of Kali? Is quarrel, dissension, and quarrel. So modern society is facing this crisis, this situation, that there is always wholesale quarrel and disagreement. One moment. So Prabhupada is pointing out the defect of the modern society or the modern setup. And there is large-scale quarrels even on less important issues. We see fighting between Iran and Iraq, India and Pakistan, now Ukraine and Russia. The same culture, the same people, the same race, same civilization, same culture. But what is the situation? That they are ruining and devastating each other. So Prabhupada says, there is the need of a clue as to how humanity can become one in peace. So the leaders, the politicians, they have no clue how this can happen, how there can be unison. There can be one in peace, friendship, and prosperity with a common cause. Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam will fill this need, for it is a cultural presentation, very powerful statement. Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam is a cultural presentation for the re-spiritualization of the entire human society. The Prabhupada is giving a cultural presentation. A culture is first required. A spiritual renaissance can only happen when there is spiritual culture. A few days back, we were discussing in our Bhakti Vaibhav course. The Prabhupada desired that all the temple devotees must have evening program, as we have the morning program. In my experience, for many, many years back, when I was working outside, I stayed for a week in Juhu temple. And there I saw the different culture. When I used to come back from my work, I used to go and pay obeisance to the deities. And there I was amazed to see, like morning, evening were filled with all the temple devotees. And all the senior devotees, everyone was present. In fact, for the first time, I got to meet Guru Maharaj personally there. Because one of the evening Bhagavad Gita classes were being delivered by Guru Maharaj. And after the class, Maharaj recognized me. And he asked me to come and meet me in his room. For the first time, I went and met Guru Maharaj personally. So culture is required. If we have the culture, then only there is the possibility of imbibing the spiritual revival. So Prabhupada is saying, the Prabhupada is presenting that culture to his Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam. See, Prabhupada is saying it is a cultural presentation. Prabhupada is not giving a very philosophical presentation, a presentation where there is too much of knowledge. To see Prabhupada's innermost feelings, his bhav, that he is giving a cultural presentation for re-spiritualization of the entire human society. And this is what Prabhupada did actually. That he united the whole world. Actually, Prabhupada said that we have created the United Nation, where there is only one flag, flag of Lord Chaitanya, and there are devotees from all over the world, from all parts of the world, from all countries. Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam should be introduced also in the schools. This is what Srila Prabhupada's aspiration is. And colleges. Why? Because it will re-spiritualize the entire human society. It will present the Vedic culture. It will bring the society in oneness with a common father. It will bring about peace, prosperity, and friendship in the society. So Prabhupada is recommending that Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam should be introduced in the schools and colleges. So that is why devotees, their sons and daughters, should not go to public schools. They should be given Vedic education, where they get the opportunity to study Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam right from the early age. I know one devotee couple, they're very prosperous, and they shifted from Delhi to Vrindavan because their son was to be admitted in Gurukul. All our acharyas are saying that the modern education system is the slaughtering system. It slaughters the consciousness of the child. So, can you ask your child's school to change the curriculum and to introduce Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam? Will they do that? No, they will never do that. So, better do not enroll your sons and daughters in such schools and fulfill the desire of Srila Prabhupada. Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam should be introduced in the schools and colleges where it is recommended by the great student devotee Prahlad Maharaj, in order to change the demoniac face of society. This is the greatest disease. Disease of the society which they are never able to diagnose, and even if diagnosed, they will never accept. What is the disease Srila Prabhupada is diagnosing? Is the demoniac society. And Prabhupada wants to change the face of the demoniac society. How? By giving this cultural presentation for re-spiritualization of the entire human race. Prabhupada wants that all the devotees, they should introduce, okay, in our generation, we did not have this opportunity. We were late. We were introduced late. But what mistakes we have done, we can at least correct them in our future. So Prabhupada quotes the verse from Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, where this is a section of Prahlad Maharaj. Kaumara charet pragyo dharman bhagavatam iha durlabham manusham janma tadapi adruvam arthadam. So Kaumara acharet pragya. Kaumara means by the age of 5. And acharet means that one should have the behavior or guidance. What his intelligence should be guided by Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam. Which dharma? He should be taught the dharma, the highest dharma of Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam. Why? Because the Human life is very rare. Durlabham manusham janma. Disparity in human society is due to lack of the principle in a godless civilization. There is God or the Almighty One from whom everything emanates, by whom everything is maintained, and in whom everything is merged to rest. That is Janmādiyas yataha itarasta anvyad tartheshu avigna swarata. Material science has tried to find the ultimate source of creation very insufficient. But it is a fact that there is one ultimate source of everything that be. This ultimate source is explained rationally and authoritatively in the beautiful Bhāgavatam or Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam. So Prabhupada is talking about the first verse, that how Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam dispels the illusion of the modern man and brings him in one banner. Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam is the transcendental science, not only for knowing the ultimate source of everything, but also for knowing our relation with him. This is very important. Bhagavad Gita gives us the information that we are not this body, we are spirit soul. Also, Bhagavad Gita gives us the principle for realization. But Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam is the character of those personalities who have realized their relation with the Supreme Lord. Prabhupada is saying here that but for also knowing our relation with him and our duty towards perfection of the human society on the basis of perfect knowledge. So whatever principles Krishna has spoken in Bhagavad Gita, that is very graphically portrayed and demonstrated both in the life and characters of Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, pure devotees. It is a powerful reading matter in the Sanskrit language and is now rendered into English elaborately, so that simply, Sri Prabhupada's blessings, so that simply by a careful reading, one will know God perfectly. If one is studying and one is hearing Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, they will know God perfectly. So much so that the reader will be sufficiently educated to defend himself from the onslaught of atheists. Over and above this, the reader will be able to convert others to accepting God as a conflict principle. So one is expected to be a preacher to remove the wholesale atheism, which is so rampant and prevailing in the modern society. Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam begins with the definition of the ultimate source. It is a bona fide commentary on the Vedanta Sutra by the same author. So Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam is the final presentation by Srila Vyasadeva. Srila Vyasadeva gave all the 4 Vedas. He divided the Vedas and classified them into 4. He gave various Purāṇas, Itihasas in the form of Mahabharata. And after giving all the Vedic literature, he gave the conclusion of all the Vedic literatures in the form of Vedanta Sutra. But even after giving Vedanta Sutra, Vyasadeva was not satisfied. Because satisfaction is of the heart. And in his heart, he felt something lacking. And when he meditated on his spiritual master, Narad Muni arrives. And Narad Muni inspires him to give exclusive glorification of the Supreme Lord, so that the people of this Kali Yuga, who are misdirected, who are Manda Somanda Mateo, who are less intelligent and very lazy, that they can receive the highest benefit. So the natural commentary on the Vedanta Sutra is Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam. So Prabhupada is talking about it. It is a bona fide commentary on the Vedanta Sutra by the same author, Srila Vyasadeva. And gradually it develops into 9 cantos up to the highest state of God realization. The first 9 cantos are meant to come to know who the Supreme Personality of Godhead is, who is Lord Shri Krishna. The only qualification one needs to study this great book of transcendental knowledge is to proceed step by step cautiously and not jump forward haphazardly. That's a very high qualification to study Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, or for that matter, any other Vedic literature. You know what is the qualification to study any Vedic literature, or in fact Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam or Chaitanya Charitamrita or Bhagavad Gita? What is the one qualification required? We studied yesterday. We studied before also. Please answer. Yes, Pranab Prabhu. Yeah, Pranab Prabhu. Speak.
Accepting Krishna as the Supreme Lord and becoming his devotee.
Yeah. More specifically, one quality required. Yes, Sonika.
Faith and the feeling of surrenderance.
Come again, free from?
Prabhuji, faith and surrenderance.
What is the first word you said?
Faith. Faith and surrender.
Faith and surrender. Okay, yes, all of it is required, but there is one outstanding quality which is being demanded by both Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam and Bhagavad Gita. What is that one outstanding quality? That encompasses all of it. Yes, Manoram Prabhu.
Prabhuji, non-enviousness.
Yes, Anusuyave. Anusuyave. Unless and until one is non-envious. What does it mean to be non-envious? That means one is completely loving. He has developed the love for the Supreme Lord. To the extent he has love for the Lord, he is the fit candidate to receive the message of the Lord. To the extent he has developed love for the Lord, that means he has revived his constitutional position with the Lord. Unless and until one is in relationship, how can he receive the message? So Prabhupada is saying here that, but Prabhupada is bringing it down to a very practical level, and he's saying the only qualification one needs to study this great book of transcendental knowledge is to proceed step by step, cautiously, and not jump forward haphazardly. We are not jumping. We won't be jumping. We will begin with the 10th canto because of the coming Janmāṣṭamī, but we will come back and we will begin from the introduction. Like we did, we will follow what we did. We started with the 15th chapter in the Purushottam month in 2020. And then we came back, we started from Preface, and now we completed the 18th chapter. So what Srila Prabhupada is recommending, we will try and follow it verbatim. It should be gone through chapter by chapter, one after another. The reading matter is so arranged with its original Sanskrit text, its English transliterations, synonyms, translation, and purpose, so that one is sure to become God-realized soul at the end of finishing the first 9 cantos. So this is the qualification required, that after the completion of the study of the first 9 canto, one should become liberated. Not just liberated, yet Prabhupada is saying, is sure to become God-realized. Then one can enter into the 10th canto. Then one can understand what is the Leela. When one is fully equipped in Tattva, then he can enter into Leela. The 10th canto is distinct from the first 9 cantos because it deals directly with the transcendental activities of the personality of Lord Sri Krishna. One will be unable to capture the effect of the 10th canto without through the first 9. So we are making an exception because of Janmāṣṭamī. The book is each independent, but it is good for all to read them in small installments, one after another. So we will do that. We'll be studying every day 3 to 4 verses if allowed in small installments. I must admit my faculties in presenting Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam. Prabhupada is, as always, humility personified. But still I am hopeful of its good reception by the thinkers and leaders of society on the strength of the following statement of Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam 1.5.11. Tadvag visargo janataga viplavo yasmin prati shlokam avadhavati api namani ananta yasho ankitani Shanvanti gayanti grahananti sadhuva. Shanvanti gayanti grahananti sadhuva. So this verse, Narad Muni is giving the inspiration to Vyasadeva. So he's commenting, he's saying that you have given so many literatures. So much you have written about it. I'll talk to you in 5 minutes. I am taking a class. Okay.
Oh, sorry.
One of my Russian friends. So he was chastising actually. Narad Muni was chastising Vyasadeva. What have you done? You have presented so much of literature, and in that you have given so much of the fruitive active activities, karma kand, and you have so much glorified the ritualistic process and so much of the demigod worship. So the Jiva in the age of Kali will never be able to know or conclude that who is the Supreme Lord. So then he's speaking this verse. He says, on the other hand, the literature which is full of descriptions of the transcendental glories of name, fame, form, and pastimes of the unlimited Supreme Lord is a transcendental creation meant to bring about a revolution. Viplavo. From here comes the word Viplav, which is the IYF Youth Festival. What does Viplav mean? To bring a spiritual revolution, to bring a revolution in the heart, to bring a change from material aspirations to spiritual aspiration. So here it says that Tadvag Visargo Janataga Viplavo. So that literature which will bring the re-spiritualization or the transformation in the heart of those who are misdirected. And how it is to be studied? Yasmin Prati Shlokam Avadhavati Api. That each verse by verse, it should be approached. So here Prabhupada is saying, name, fame, form, and pastimes of the unlimited Supreme Lord, the transcendental creation is meant to bring about a revolution in the impious life of the misdirected civilization. Such transcendental literature, even though irregularly composed, are heard Shanvanti, sung is Gayanti, Grinanti is accepted by whom? Sadhuva, who was purified men who are thoroughly honest. Prabhupada uses the word Om Tat Sat, and when Prabhupada presents it in 15 December 1962, that time there was war with China, and Prabhupada was in Vrindavan. Prabhupada had taken sannyas and he was struggling all alone. But Prabhupada had this highest of aspiration to unite the entire world, to re-spiritualize the entire world with his presentation of Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam. Okay, I'll stop here. There are just a couple of minutes. If someone has something to say, speak, or ask, please do that. Hare Krishna. Yes, Madan Sar Prabhu. One good way is whenever we are coming to these verses, try to memorize both the verses. Kaumara charet pragya dharmam bhagavatam hiya durlabham manusham janma tadapi adruvam arthadam and tadvag visargo. Those who are interested, as we proceed, keep reciting, and this you will remember what we have studied also. And once you pick up the Sanskrit, then you need not have so many detailed notes and everything. You will be able to connect and you'll be able to deliver. You will be able to speak on the verse. Hare Krishna. Yes, Madan Swarup Prabhu.
What is the difference between transliteration and translation?
Yeah, transliteration is word to word.
Okay,
This
word
is-
to word meaning.
It's transliteration. Prabhupada has given transliteration also. Before he gives the translation, he gives the transliteration. One to word meaning. Okay?
Thank you.
Hare Krishna. Okay. No one else has anything to speak about Bhagavatam? So please remain intact. It is a great opportunity for us to discuss Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam. I am already doing that. Today we completed the 15th chapter. I am having my classes. So this is another inspiration because what I am hearing, I'll share with you. Very powerful 35 brahmacharis all studying together Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam officially. So whatever I am receiving, I'll try to pass on. Hare Krishna. Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam ki jai.
Jai.
Prabhupada ki jai. Please keep writing. Pranav, I have not seen for many, many days your write-up. Devadatta, continue in the same spirit. Write. I received a very sweet Bhagavad Gita overview by Priyanka. I've shared that. Keep writing. At least one write-up in a week. Or you can match the standard of Manoram and Devadatta. They are on daily basis. Hare Krishna. Please register for that youth festival. More than 4,200 registrations were done yesterday out of 5,000. Don't think I will register at the last day. You may not get opportunity. And wherever there is preaching opportunity to bring the youths, please encourage them also. Maybe another 2 days it will be open, then it will be over. Hare Krishna.